Proverbs 11 Bible study. Look at the 4 pictures, and as we do the Bible study, see which picture fits which verse. The merciful man doth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubles his own flesh. God is speaking to Cain. If thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Genesis 4. Last week, we saw the first part of this verse. There is this conversation between God and Cain, and the sequence is very important. The exhortation is to let your emotions follow your own behavior and not that of someone else's behavior. It is sometimes extremely difficult, but it gives you the responsibility for your own actions and your own reactions in any situation. You need to evaluate your own behavior and then decide how you feel about it. This truth serves the purpose of positive emotions. Positive emotions is to confirm that you are on the right track, is to confirm that your behavior is fitting, is to confirm and in that sense validate what you think and how you behave. That is the purpose of positive emotions. So we need to engage our own behavior and then think, listen, how did I act in this circumstance? Is this something that I myself can be proud of? Often we find our true self in this manner when we have acted, and after we have acted, we experience a sense of, this is not how I want to be, this is not how I really am. Then you can feel sad, then you can feel troubled, but then that leads to change in behavior or change in mindset or change in values, and that is how we grow our character. It is very difficult not to react directly on the behavior of other people, but remember, before you act, there's always a mental process, and that mental process is one that you have total control about. So if someone acts adversely towards you or towards you in a negative manner or in a way that you feel affronted, then you need to focus on the mental aspect. What is going through your mind? And then decide what is the best response that you need to take. The outcome will be according to the response that you make. If it's a conflict situation, you want to make it smaller. If there is a misunderstanding, you want to clear it up. So it is very important that you evaluate not someone else's behavior, but also your own behavior and the motive behind it. And pretty soon you will feel that even though bad things happen to you as well, because of your character strength, you have acted in a manner that is worthy of a child of God. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. In this verse, there is a distinction on the verbs desire versus expectation. If we talk about desire, we tend to think that desire is bad or desire is negative and desire is something that I must fight against. Here is one verse that says that desire can be good, and this is the desire of the righteous. That means the desire of the child of God. The reason it is important to keep these desires is that is the way that you fulfill the will of God. When the Holy Spirit starts to work within your life, then you grow in the ability to will God's will and to desire what God desires. As soon as you recognize these desires that you have as natural, good, seeking God's will, then your desire starts to set your priorities in terms of what is important to you. Once your priorities are clearly stated, then it changes your mindset on how do you think you are going to achieve your priorities. What are you going to let go? What are you going to focus on? Once your mind is made up, quite literally, your mindset will determine your behavior, and your behavior will always cause your desire to be fulfilled. Think about something that you have achieved, a car you want to buy, a degree that you have finished, a day that you organized. Everything started in your heart. Everything started in your mind. Everything started with a desire that says, I want to. This secret to manifest what is in your heart is at the heart of Exodus 20. When Exodus 20 warns us not to covet, not to desire what is bad, not to desire what is evil, it states that, it is clear that Exodus 20 is aware that everything that manifests in our life starts with desires. That is why you need to desire to serve God. You need to desire to honor your parents. You need to desire to work hard and earn a living. You need to desire to speak the truth. You need to desire the good. For if you desire the good, then you will manifest the good in your life, good being according to the will of God. On the other hand, there is another process that is based on fear. That's a process of expectation. This is in connection with the wicked. The wicked meaning those who live without God. And those who live without God and does not see God's will, the principle is fear. And the driving force in their life is fear. And as soon as fear becomes a driving force, then there is a phenomenon called the self-fulfilling prophecy. The self-fulfilling prophecy says that I've got this expectation or this negative expectation that my fear will be realized. Let's say, for instance, that I have this fear that I will be cheated upon. Then I will exhibit behavior that supports this expectation or supports this fear. So I will try to treat my spouse or my mate. I will start to treat them as if they have already cheated on me. And I will start to emotionally withdraw, and I will start to cause conflict, because that is the expectation that lives within my mind. Now, how does your partner respond to this? Because of this response, your partner will then withdraw. Your partner will then seek consolement somewhere else, and then will form a cheating relationship. When it all comes to light, as it always do, you can tell yourself, I was right all along. This is the way that fears are realized in our own lives by our own actions. It is so important that we must remember that the mind always follows the heart. Therefore, the difference between righteous and wicked is what lives in the heart. And because the righteous lives in the heart, we will constantly seek what God desires in every situation. Be aware of the irony of the wicked heart. You can think on the crucifixion of Jesus himself. The wicked that wanted to put Jesus to death, they said to themselves, we have succeeded. But ironically, in them putting Jesus to death, they condemned themselves. That is why the expectation of the wicked is always wrath. There is that scattereth and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. Have you ever thought about the Dead Sea? The Dead Sea is a low point in the countryside. It is the lowest point in the countryside, with the effect that all the water runs down from the Jordan River and the surrounding hills and areas all into the Dead Sea. Those waters are rich in minerals. Because the Dead Sea is the lowest point, there's no exit point for the water, and these minerals then build up in the sea, and they are so thick that a person can float on the Dead Sea. Not for very long, because then it starts to burn your skin. And it is so rich that nothing can survive and nothing can live in it. And that is the metaphor for people who are living with this mindset that everything must come to me and come to me and come to me, and never give something out, never scatter, never make a commitment. It is a kingdom principle. Jesus tells the parable about the sower, on how the sower sows the seed and it falls in different places, but the seed that falls in a good heart multiplies 30, 60, 100-fold. It is the kingdom principle that the kingdom is not supposed to be kept for a person for yourself. The blessing is not supposed to be kept for a person for yourself. And as soon as you start to give out, change the direction in which you live, start to focus on other people and other situations besides your own life, then you will have the benefit of reaping 30, 60, 100-fold in terms of your life. Isn't this the principle in tithing? We must always remember that God does not need our money, but we need to learn that we can't hold on. So in tithing, it is like we are making a sacrifice and we are saying, listen, I am dependent on God. Because behind Proverbs, we must always remember there is a person named God that is guaranteeing that every word spoken is true. When we tithe, and in this sense, we give up something, money, time, energy, something. It means that we are not holding on, but we are scattering in terms of the kingdom, and then we will reap in terms of the kingdom. This is a principle also in life, where you need to change the direction of which you live your life. Many people have an inward direction towards life, where I am in the middle, like the Dead Sea, and everything must flow towards me. Their lives result in exactly the same situation as the real Dead Sea. When you change your mindset, you say, listen, I am going to see other people. I am going to see their wants, their needs. I am going to see where I can make a difference in the world. I am going to see how I can change my community for the better, or my congregation more towards the world. I can see not what I can get, but what I can give. Then there is a promise. And that promise is that you will ultimately gain something, be it character. And this is what we need to understand. Whenever Proverbs speaks, it is not just about things and not just about stuff. It all has to do with character, and it all has to do with God working on the unseen side of life. So as soon as I start making a contribution to wherever I go, amongst whoever I find myself, as soon as I start making a contribution, what happens? More opportunities comes your way, and as the opportunity comes, your character grows, and the character is the basis for your success later in life. People who hold on tend to have lesser opportunities, lesser risk, and then no growth. Think about it this way. A hand that is grasping that is closed cannot receive. He that troubles his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be the servant to the wise of heart. There are three enemies to the believer: an adverse society, the work of Satan, as well as his or her own self-defeating behavior. This verse deals with self-defeating behavior towards yourself as well as your family. The purpose of marriage is to have someone who is completely on your side, to point out your blind spots and to help you conquer them. You must always remember that your family must deal with your issues, so don't destroy them. Family is the core unit of a healthy society or healthy community. It is extremely important that we value our families and what happens within our families to form a strong support system, for that is the base of the next generation. The wind refers to there will be nothing left. So in biblical times, when you really had nothing left, you could always sell yourself to another person, and in that way become his slave and become part of his broader family. So in this sense, if you don't act upon your own blind spots, if you don't act upon your own self-defeating behavior, what will happen? You will ultimately have to sell yourself in order just to survive. This verse is true in so many people's lives. That is why we need a spouse, a friend, that we trust to be completely on our side, but also honest enough to tell us what blind spots do we have, what do we need to conquer in order to become our best. We must always remember that there are two ideas in the gospel that goes hand in hand. One is truth and the other one is grace. So when we engage in this type of conversations where we talk about a person or your or my blind spots and say, listen, we can only talk the truth as long as there is grace to cover it. Truth without grace is not the gospel, and it means there won't be any change of behavior. There won't be any personal growth and any character strength that develops. But we can't always have just grace and say everything is okay, because then there would be no change as well. It is important that when we engage with each other and say, listen, we are close enough, strong enough in love, so we can challenge certain blind spots, then we can also exhibit grace, and character growth will be there, and you will be a stronger person, and your family will be a stronger family. Just remember, you don't need to be bound by the family you come from. My children must learn to handle the issues that I have given them, and I must learn to handle the issue that I received in the family that I grew up. But that doesn't need to determine the rest of my life. You are powerful enough to create your own sense of family. And even if your family here isn't that great, that is why it is the metaphor for the church, where you have brothers and sisters that you can count on in love to help you conquer your blind spots, so that you can have the fullest life possible. Always remember, behind all these verses is the character of God, the name of God, the presence of God and the working of God through His Spirit. Amen.